possibility of what we in the business call a slide. That means it's going to be a 4:40 kickoff on Big Ten Network because let's just say about 90% of the time our friends in the TV world exercise that 5-minute slide. The reason that happens is sometimes a game ahead of ours would go long or, something happens. Maybe it goes to overtime, whatever. So there will likely be a slide. It'll probably be a 4:40 kickoff time. We'll have a 2:30 pregame show for you across the Oregon Sports Network as Ducks get ready to open the season and start a new era. Seeing the Big Ten logos on the field. I've now been around Autzen, seen it, and it's still going to take me a bit, I think, to get used to it. Now, that being said, it's still just a game of football. Still Autzen Stadium. And it's a sold-out Autzen Stadium. However, maybe Jason Harris will pop in today, the Assistant Athletic Director of People and Venues, as we've affectionately come to name him. Our understanding is actually that, and this happens because it is not school time yet. Classes have not started at the University of Oregon. So, actually, students who have season tickets, some of them did not claim. That means they go out to the general public. So if you're like, man, I didn't get a ticket yet, I'm thinking about it, my understanding is that there are now some seats available in the student section. You get to go back to college, hanging out in the student section. Ryan Milano's here today, and he's like, I just graduated, I will take that student section ticket. Yeah, rather than being in the booth, I think we'll just have Ryan in the student section. I'm all in for that. So fans, though, there are a few more tickets available, reserved seats in the student section potentially here for the Ducks and the Vandals coming up at 4:30 on Saturday to open up the season. After practice today, we talked with Coach Lanning, also talked offensive line, Charlie Pickard, Pancho Lalulu, and a veteran leader on the defensive side, Jeffrey Bassa. All those interviews for you coming on the Go Ducks YouTube, and we'll have them for you on the show today and tomorrow. A lot of Oregon football interviews, including Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. We'll chat with him, his thoughts heading into opening weekend. Not just for football, for volleyball as well. Ducks in a top 10 battle at Matthew Knight Arena on Friday. We'll have more on that coming up. Let's hear from Coach Lanning, and I should also mention Coach Lanning will be live with us on the Oregon Football Coaches Show tonight. The Oregon Football Coaches Show returns. Jerry Georgi and myself will be here. Johnny Cornelius will join us tonight as well, talking with one of the veteran offensive linemen. Coach Lanning, every night right around 7 o'clock on the Oregon Football social media channels and on the Go Ducks YouTube. We'll have our Oregon Football Coaches Show every Wednesday. Might see some adjustments with the Friday games, but mostly every Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Join us for the Oregon Football Coaches Show. Coach Lanning will be with us here tonight, coming up, talking all things Ducks and Vandals. And after practice today, Coach Lanning met with the media. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, just about, an hour and a half ago. Always brought to you by the Wayne Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Coach Lanning, close to home here.
All right. Great day of work today. Good week of prep. We were able to get kind of a bonus day this week with the way we set things up. So tomorrow will be more like a typical Thursday for us. Can go ahead and open it up.
Is Bedford in a better spot right now than Edwards may anticipate?
I don't think so. I don't know. What spot do you think he's in?
Well, he said he'd be out for a couple of weeks, and he was out there today.
Yeah, he's able to move around, but I don't know that he'll be able to help us game one or not. We'll see what it looks like. We'll continue to assess it.
What have you seen from Aaron Flowers so far through spring and through fall camp and kind of his growth?
Yeah, I think he's just had a level of focus, and approach, knowing, hey, I don't have it all figured out, but I'm going to figure it out with tempo, time, and consistency, right? So he's getting there. He's doing a good job. He's going to be a good player for us.
A couple weeks ago, you said Charlie Pickard would help this team. What are the things that he's done during camp to make you feel that way?
Yeah, he does everything right. Right, his prep's right. The way he works is right. Everything's right. I think he's a leader in that offensive line room, and that's been really consistent with him.
There was Price a year ago, and now Charlie this year. Dan, what does it mean to a program where it's that in-state guy, the walk-on position? I realize different circumstances, but the guys who stay for those opportunities, and then if the time comes for them, that they're able to capitalize on.
Yeah, I think that's just really the benefit of a team sport, right? Team sport, and anybody can contribute in football. It's a lot different than other sports. It takes so many people to have a successful team, and guys like that are able to contribute for us, make it special.
What
can you say about Poncho's personality and just his presence around this group?
I think he loves ball, right? And I think that's fun to see out there on the football field. A guy that loves ball and works his tail off every single day. He plays physical, right? Yeah. That's something we certainly appreciate, that physicality out on the field.
Day one of fall camp and now right before the game, where do you think you're most impressed with this team and their growth?
I don't know that I'd pick one thing. I just think it's great that they work every single day. They come out here and they put it together. Like I said, there's probably been one day in fall camp where I was like, I wasn't crazy about that, right? They've done a good job of preparing.
Is Dakota Fields going to be?
No, Dakota's going to be down for a little bit. Had a knee injury. We're going to have to work to get him back. Don't want to put a timeline on it, but it'll be a while.
Where have you seen growth from Dale Austin over the fall camp?
We've asked him to play multiple positions and kind of be in multiple spots. He's a football player, a good football player, and we're challenging him a lot to do a lot of different things. But I think his physicality has shown up, and continue to see that.
What kind of challenges does that present for a guy who's a redshirt freshman, where you're asking him to play multiple spots?
That's kind of the expectation for us in our system, right? We want guys that, the more you can do for your program, the more that you can do on the field. So he's done a good job of handling that.
What are your takeaways from just the week 0 games that you guys, hey, we need to be prepared for this week 1?
Yeah, there's a lot of situations that showed up in those games that we've kind of reiterated with our players. So it's always a good refresher as a coach and for players to see some things that don't always show up in college football.
We talked earlier in the week about Idaho and how competitive they've been, but you drilled home a little bit that, they've played these FBS games the last 2 years. They've not been down at halftime. They've hung with real.
Yeah, they've been a really competitive team versus good teams that we've played. So they bring their best. They obviously perform up. I think this will be an exciting game for them, but nobody you can go to sleep on. They're talented. They're a good team for a reason.
What's it been like watching Will balance the coaching and also in addition to the family over fall camp?
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things about coaching. And shout out to Darby, right, and the job that she's having to do at home right now. But he's got a really strong family, and Will's done a good job with that.
With the nerves of week 1, just for everybody, for you personally, how do you sort of try to keep yourself level, keep yourself calm?
Yeah, it's always a challenge, right? You're always excited to get out there on the field and go play. But you just focus on the moment at hand, right? The practice that you're involved in, the next film session, that's what you really maintain.
That's Coach Lanning after practice today, meeting with the media. And what he was asked about there, for those that don't know, Coach Stein just had a baby. So balancing that family, Coach Stein, congratulations to the Oregon offensive coordinator. And I love that Coach Lanning said that. It's a difficult part for any coach. There's so much time that's invested in their work, but then family's so important. That's a balancing act that a lot of them have to juggle, there's no doubt. Well, we'll get a break, come back. Rob Moseley's going to join us. See how he did in the big run over the weekend. Right now, I could say he won. We'll find out if he did. We're also going to talk a lot of football. Where does Rob position himself on football game day to get his hands on the first O cookie? Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course. You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio. Look at that. That's perfect timing. Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com, he is fresh back from a championship level performance. A championship run. Wow, he's got the diet due. Rob is in mid-season form here, week 1. How are you, buddy?
You're being way too nice. I fumbled the ball. I got distracted. I was all set to walk over here like 4 minutes ago, and then my brain was like, squirrel! And then it was
Wait,
gone.
but what was the squirrel? Is it radio appropriate?
Yeah. There's the possibility for some downtime tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's going to be warm. And so it was like, oh, we should hit the river. Oh,
yeah, you can plan.
Who are we going to go? And then suddenly, it's like my head was already on the river.
No,
so I apologize.
But you're here.
It did give me a chance to jog over here.
So you warmed back up.
Which is a good test of the legs from hood to coast.
Okay, so I said going to break, we'll find out if you won. So up until this point, I've told everybody that you won hood to coast.
Yes.
Now, winning, Rob, as you know, as Rob takes a nice swig of that Diet Mountain Dew, worked up got a little parched on the jog over.
It's a long way. People don't know, but it's a long way.
It's literally around the corner. It's a long, long way. That's your first, I think, that you've done that this year. Normally, Rob will come in, mid-season form is Rob comes in, needs a little caffeine in the afternoon, and then fires himself right back up. So up until now, you have won hood to coast. So winning is relative.
Right.
Did you feel that you won?
Kind of. Like we didn't get lost. We didn't blow out a tire. So the van situation was all good.
That's good.
We had a new twist this year. I used some points to get a hotel room in downtown Portland for night before and then night between.
Okay.
That was very well received. That felt like a win.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sore or anything like that. Now I did take it kind of easy. I had the hardest leg. My second of the 3 legs is the hardest single leg on the course in my opinion.
Okay.
Not the hardest set. There's a harder set. Leg 5 is the hardest set. But leg 8's second leg, leg 20, to me is the hardest one. And I didn't know I had it until 2 weeks ago. And I was like, what the heck?
Huh.
So I took it pretty easy on my first one, knowing that was out there.
Yeah.
I took it pretty easy on that one, just not wanting to die. Plus, it was the middle of the night, and as soon as I left the exchange, my headlamp went out.
Ooh.
And so I was like, oh, I don't want to step in.
Had to charge some batteries.
Hole and break my ankle.
Yeah. That would have derailed the entire football season.
It would not have been great.
Yeah.
It would have been, not great. And then the third one, at that point, it's I was kind of tired, so it's not like I was sprinting anyway. So it's not as fast as I've ever run, but considering I was in Europe for 2 weeks and didn't run very much on that trip, so I didn't feel like I was at my fittest.
Yeah.
Got through fine.
So you won.
Yeah. Felt like I won. Yeah, last year was an epically good year. If you remember, my team went off really early, so we were literally the first team on the course for 3/4 of the race.
Right.
And I think we were one of the first 10 teams in. So we just said we're a top 10 team last year.
You were.
They tried to start us that early again, and we were like, hey, this happened
no.
last year. And
I remember you said that.
Yeah. Anywho, so it went
Welcome
good.
back.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, mid-season form.
Yes.
Crack open the caffeine,
right.
You're ready to roll.
But the other thing about that is, too, so I've gone through a major life change in the last 2 months probably. Because I've always been somebody who needs a couple hours to myself.
Okay.
And in the past, that's been at the end of the day.
Okay.
Because I'm naturally kind of a night owl.
You don't say.
So, yeah. So, it might be 10:30 to 12:30, 11 to 1, something like that. Was just me reading on my computer, whatever. Now those 2 hours are 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. or 7 to 9.
Wild.
I know.
Do you walk the dog in that period of time?
I do sometimes. I did today. There's a rotation.
Yeah.
Point being, I now have to be even better about how late I have caffeine.
Because you got to get up early.
Because I'm trying to go to sleep earlier to get up earlier.
So this made your life change?
Yes.
Why?
I'm not sure. I've been wondering about that too.
It just happened one.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was like, your sleep schedule got all messed up going to the Olympics, so maybe you just kept the morning stuff.
That's part of it. Yeah.
That's
part of it. Yeah.
Everyone's told me that when I became a father, I would be a morning person as a result. No.
Yeah.
I still don't like getting up in the middle of the night if one of my sons wakes up.
Yeah.
I still would prefer to not get out of bed until 7.
Yeah. God, there's 2 now, isn't there? Whew, wow. That's a lot. I can't imagine.
But, Rob, I've said this forever. You are, by the way, a great cool uncle. Like, that's your vibe. I hope you know that.
I saw my fam a little bit when I was in the Bay Area a couple weeks ago.
So there you go.
Got a chance to show up, drop off some presents,
you Uncle Rob?
And leave. I don't think this will violate any FCC
Please don't,
rules.
then. Don't go down. Don't. Let's not test the waters. You're, though, that.
It's Uncle Flatulence.
Ah, I like that.
But,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Uncle Fart. They call me Uncle Fart.
That's great.
Sometimes. Yeah.
I actually love that for so many reasons.
Okay.
You know that's going to stick now, right?
Fine by me.
Yeah, it's going to stick. Well, the point I'm making, especially like we talk about midseason form and like, there's so much excitement heading into game 1. Well, for me, like, my 2 sons, I'm so happy to be running man-to-man defense.
Mm-hmm.
I always said I never wanted to run zone defense.
Yeah. No, my poor brother had twins.
Ooh.
Wanted one more, had twins.
There you go.
We got a coworker in our office here. Same deal.
Yep.
Had one, wanted one more.
So then
had
you're
twins.
running zone defense.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that until they're like 18 and 16, I will be able to out-athlete them.
Sure.
I won't, but I'll try.
Right.
And
we can say it.
Yeah.
Plus, they'll respect. They don't know.
Right. They don't know.
To them, you're elite. You're Ashton Eaton to them.
Gosh, wouldn't that be nice? But the point is, man-to-man works better than zone defense.
No doubt.
My wife runs zone defense often.
Yeah.
She's very good at it. Much more athletic than me.
Yeah.
Me, no.
Yeah.
They will win when there's 2 of them and 1 of me.
Yeah.
So.
But until then.
Excitement. It's a big word around here. Like, you go into to the first game, there's always excitement. And, hey, look, it is a new era. Where are your eyes going on Saturday? I ask you this every year. What are you looking for game 1?
Yeah. I mean, I think anytime you have a new quarterback, that's going to dominate attention, and for good reason. I mean, it's, along with a hockey goalie.
Sorry.
Oh, here we go.
Great comment. That's not going to stick, Joey. It's going to stink.
Well played.
Good dad joke.
Well played.
Good dad joke.
Yeah, along with, hockey goalie, it's probably the most important position in sports. So just, how does Dylan Gabriel look? How does he fit in? How seamless does the transition from Bo Nix to him feel? Obviously seamless is probably too high a bar to set, but, feeling like, that transition is going to be a smooth one. Obviously this is the kind of game where you'd like to think you can get a lead and then try to get some guys some work. I think there's some positions on this team. I look at offensive line. I look at the secondary, where the defensive line even, where you've got a lot of really good young athletes, providing depth, but maybe not guys with a ton of experience yet. So there's a chance to get some of those, freshmen on the D-line, some of the younger guys on the back end, work in some of those depth guys on the O-line and see, who can be maybe a rotation piece as the season progresses. I think as the game progresses, it'll be that. But, first and foremost, just, how do things look offensively with that new quarterback? And is this going to be a typical, highly prolific Oregon offense?
I always look for, I feel like in a first game, how efficient is everything? Because the old adage is the defense is really good early in fall camp. Offense gets into a rhythm, gets the timing, and then it's game week.
Yeah.
And then you play against somebody else. So I always feel like you want efficiency in a first game, right? Don't shoot yourself in the foot.
Lack of penalties, lack of turnovers. Don't give up, have any breakdowns on special teams, things like that. Yeah, it's interesting. I felt this whole camp, and obviously I was a late arrival, so you'd have a better perspective than me, but I felt this whole camp was really back and forth.
That was competitive, yeah.
Really even for the most part. Because you're right, certainly the scrimmage days, you'd come away from a single practice saying, okay, that unit might have gotten the better of it, that unit might have gotten the better of it, but even in those cases, it's not like it was one-sided. And again, for the most part, it was just like, yeah, really even and back and forth. So, you know, the dumbest thing you could do is draw conclusions from any of that, because we want, you know, we were talking something last week, and I don't remember what the context was, but it was like, you'll know the significance of something 3 months from
in
now.
November.
Yeah.
So I said, I had asked Cam Alexander what's a good camp, and he said, well, we'll know if it was a good camp in November.
Right.
You
That's
know,
the
and,
bottom line.
But and I think, though, that speaks so much to the expectations that are external versus the expectations that are internal, and I think often internal they're higher maybe
for
than
sure.
even external.
But didn't Dylan Gabriel just say yesterday too something along the lines of, you know, I want my team to win. Like, I kind of don't care what it looks like.
Just win
the
game.
And so Cam's comment to you last week, that comment from Dylan yesterday, I do think it shows kind of where this team's head at. It's in a pretty healthy spot. You don't have anybody talking about, well, you know, it's fine for guys to have individual goals. That's great. If it drives them, that's awesome. Right. But you're not hearing a ton of that, and you're not hearing a ton of, we need to do this specifically, that specifically. It's just, we want to win games. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think, you know, this culture's in a good spot right now. Again, you know, until you get punched in the mouth a couple times, that's when things really get tested, so you don't want to draw conclusions from any of that stuff.
You find out the most when there's adversity, no doubt.
100%.
I think every team, every coach, every player would say that. But I will say, you know, you and I listen to everything that student athletes and coaches say, you know, and it hit me that I've been doing this now for a decade. And so, like, just listening to that many interviews. And I think I was kind of curious your perspective on this. Like, I feel like each camp does kind of have a couple themes that come up. And a lot of times that's by design, right? It's what the coaches are talking to the student athletes about. And so the student athletes regurgitate it in interviews and back to us. And I think one of the themes in the narrative of the culture of this camp has been connection, like almost to a player, to a man.
Yeah.
Every one of them has said, you know, I feel like we're really connected, like we communicate really well. And that's a sign of a good culture, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's been a disciplined group. You know, you talk about efficiency. I mean, I don't really recall a day with like a ton of turnovers or anything like that, you know. Maybe 1 or 2 days in the month where it seemed like there were more penalty flags than other days. You know, this is not a team where you're seeing a lot of fights break out in practice, things like that. I mean, I just think it's a disciplined group with kind of a big picture focus, you know, and that starts obviously with the top, with the tone Coach Lanning set. So, you know, for the fourth time, you know, you don't want to draw conclusions from that just yet, because all of that really gets tested when the stuff hits the fan. And, you know, that's going to happen. You know, there's opponents on the schedule where you go, okay, that's probably going to happen that day. But you also know from experience that it's going to happen a couple other times too. You know, maybe not the games you thought it might, but it could. And there could even be situations this Saturday, despite kind of external expectations, where it's like, hey, you've put yourself in a hole. How are you going to dig yourself out?
You know, so I was listening to, on the Idaho side, I was listening to Jason Eck, their third-year head coach, his press conference, because we use a couple of those clips just to get the perspective from the other side on our pregame show. And I was listening to one, and he said, look, you know, like, if we do everything right, from the Idaho side, he goes, if we do everything right and they make a great play, I can still sleep at night. Right? Like, I feel like that's sort of, like, maybe not all, but it's probably a perspective that most coaches would share. Like, if your player did everything right, someone just made a great play on the other side, that's the whole tip your cap. I mean, you know, you're going to sleep okay after that.
From his perspective, you'd probably be a little silly to judge the success of your season on how did you do against Oregon.
And he said that, actually.
You know?
He said we could, like, you lose this game by 100, it doesn't matter because you could still go win the conference championship. He's very upfront about that.
What he wants to know is, do my guys look like they can compete with the rest of the teams in their league? Not like, does my team match up with Oregon? I mean, everybody kind of knows the answer to that. Sounds like he knows the answer to that, you know. So,
but you got to execute on the Duck side too.
No, 100%. Right? Yeah. That there's a trap there that the Ducks could fall into too, which could create, you know, put yourself in a couple of those holes we were talking about. But, and you know, and that's good insight in the way coaches judge, you know, a successful outing. You know, the rest of us are looking at the scoreboard and yards and kind of quantifiables that way. You know, they're looking at totally different metrics when they're judging, okay, did we get out of this game what we wanted to get out? I mean, Oregon could win by 100 and Dan Lanning might not be happy.
And that's the flip side of that perspective. Like, remember we were talking about this last year. Portland State, it's a 74-point game. And, one side of it I think on the Portland State side was, well, the third stringers were in there the second half, because they've got a season ahead of them. And then for the Ducks, it's you want to execute. You want to do everything you can to execute well. It's perspective matters.
Yeah, no doubt.
What a shocking concept. Holy cow.
Ooh, a big picture.
Boy, really did. Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Also a huge debut at Matthew Knight Arena for Oregon Volleyball coming up. I'm really excited for 7:30. Top 10 matchup on Friday night. Ducks in Pittsburgh. Chance to really show something.
It is. And, this is not Oregon, Idaho. But it is, an Oregon team, particularly when you lose a Hannah Pukas and you're breaking in a setter. Again, we talk about the hockey goalie and the football quarterback. When you got a new setter in volleyball, that's the straw that stirs the drink. And
right.
And so, this is an immense challenge for even a good Oregon team, which they are, very much worthy of their preseason ranking. But this is an immense challenge, no matter who's coming back.
Yep.
And with the roster turnover they had and getting everybody on the same page, and particularly. When you lose a setter like Pukas and have to replace her, just a really, really substantial test. So, it could be a similar situation for them where it's like, hey, regardless of the outcome, there's certain things we need to see that are going to tell us kind of where this season's going to go. And as always, you want to learn some lessons in a victory.
Yeah.
And so that would obviously be the best scenario, get a win and also feel like, okay, we learned some things and we know where places we still need to grow, things like that. So just a huge opportunity for them.
And a new floor at Matthew Knight Arena.
Yeah, no doubt.
Pretty exciting. And I got a couple questions about this, actually. And so I asked Coach Holmer after he was done doing our interview yesterday. The way that the floor works, it actually lays down the volleyball floor on top of the basketball floor. And then the way Coach Holmer described it is it's just much more cushiony.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it a little bit more of an enjoyable playing experience for volleyball, which is cool.
They've played on a surface like this, in the postseasons and on the road.
And it's
right?
required if you want to host the later rounds of postseason, you have to have a volleyball-specific floor.
So, they'll have some experience with it, but it'll be new for the rest of us and, new for them at home.
But it looks nice.
Pretty cool. I have no idea.
It looks nice.
All right.
Yeah, so we'll enjoy that on Friday. What else, Rob? What else should fans know?
Soccer's at home, too.
Soccer is at home.
We got cross-country this week. Everybody's in action.
Cross-country, Orem, Utah, Friday morning.
Yep.
Oregon soccer and Oregon volleyball both at noon on Sunday. I have a very important question, though. I said that I was going to ask this to you. What's the strategy to get into the best possible position for the first O-Cookie of the season? What's your strategy, Rob? The O-Cookie picture is iconic, Mosley.
There are some people who look forward to it, and Lord knows I appreciate them. Strategy.
Like, is there a strategy?
No.
You just wait until you wander by and there's an O-Cookie?
Yep.
All right. So the first O-Cookie doesn't go to Rob. Who knew?
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah, I just grab it when I grab it.
I don't go get mine from the booth until I see your picture fly across the timeline.
Yeah, ironically enough, it's not like I always remember it's going to be there. But then I see it and I'm like, oh, yes.
O-Cookie.
Yeah.
That's when you know the season's here.
It's little things in life,
Yes. Yeah. Well,
you start to expect them and you start to take them for granted.
Well, and I'm, chained to a headset on game day. So I have that tiny window where I can run and get my O-Cookie. So you're my saving grace sometimes.
Well, I'll be your trigger man.
Thank you.
To trigger that thought.
Appreciate
that.
Go
get a cookie.
Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Have a good weekend, bud.
Hey, thanks. You too.
Yeah, mid-season form.
It's going to be fun. We better be. It's a lot going on.
Mid-season form.
Yeah.
When we come back, an Idaho native, Kenyan Sadiq, talk with him on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I saw Xavier say in the comments he's got 2 tickets to Saturday's game, and who needs some? Someone's going to take you up on that, right? We expect a sold-out Autzen Stadium, stripe out coming to Autzen Stadium. Odd sections, yellow. Even sections, green. That great overhead shot that we always get when we do these, it's outstanding. Charter box, green. And then I still have yet to decide. I think I'm going to wear green and yellow. Because we're in a broadcast. Ryan's shaking his head at me. We are in our broadcast booth sits right on a staircase. So, and where I sit is right on a staircase. So that means green, yeah, I could go either way. It depends on which side of our broadcast booth I'm in. So I have a lot more green than I do yellow. Maybe I'll just wear black. I think that could be the choice. Ryan doesn't like that choice. Caden doesn't like that choice. I don't know yet. Any suggestions? Let me know. Kenyan Sadiq. Change at halftime in face paint. That's fun. Kenyan Sadiq, Idaho native, met with the media this week. Duck tight end. That's a deep tight end group. Kenyan Sadiq telling us about that deep tight end group and playing against a team that, well, he knows some guys on it. Kenyan Sadiq.
How ready are you for the guys to play another team?
I think it's gonna be fun. Everyone's fired up. It's good to get out there and hit someone else for once. You know what I mean? Since camp, so everyone's super excited to go out there and kind of let loose.
You're an Idaho guy. What was your town like that you grew up in?
Yeah. Playing like 2 back-to-back Idaho schools is pretty cool. They're both pretty far away from me, but there's still guys that I grew up with or played against on both the teams. So.
Right.
Who are some of those guys?
Keyshawn, number 1, edge rusher. He's really good player. I actually went to like daycare with him and stuff growing up, so it's kind of cool to see. And there's just like kids I played against, like 7-on-7 and stuff like that around the area.
What's it like just getting to play a team that's it's been a while since Oregon's been able to take them on? You guys get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I said, Idaho kid growing up, watching all these schools, Oregon, Boise State, U of I, all the schools now get to play at Oregon and then play against them.
It's been obviously a long, full camp for you. What do you think's been the biggest improvement in your eyes in this squad heading into this game week?
In the squad in general, I would just say our focus and next play mentality. When we make a mistake, we don't even think about it. We're just right back into it. That's like a big improvement for us because we kind of hang our head or let us affect the next play. But now we're just right into the next one.
Have you guys kind of just been attacking the film when it's week 1 and you haven't really, neither team has played yet? How do you go about that?
Right, we get a couple extra days, which is really nice to look at the team, look at the past, where coaches have been, look at their spring game, all that stuff. So like you said, these extra 4 days or something we have are super nice. We just get a bunch of time to look over the film. We're not in school right now too. That helps too. So just extra time.
You bulked up from last season. How do you feel like that's just helped you on the field?
A little momentum carrying over. I feel like it's going to be really fun and doing a lot of different things. I'm super excited to get out there and play with everyone, so I think it's going to be good.
You
mentioned Keyshawn. Sounds like somebody you've known for a long time.
Yeah.
What's it going to be like being across this field from him?
Right. I haven't seen him in so long, but yeah, we grew up like I said, daycare. Like I've known him forever, so it's gonna be kind of cool because our paths went so different, and then just kind of crossing each other, so it's pretty cool.
You guys didn't play football together at any point, right?
Nope. I said just grew up with each other.
Yeah.
Family is pretty close.
And this fall, I mean, all the weapons on this offense, where do you see yourself trying to fit in, and what have you learned from a lot of these experienced guys?
Right, so there's a lot of mouths to feed and everything, so it's gonna be interesting to see how people try to guard that. I think that's benefits us a lot because everyone's gonna be able to do their own thing. It's gonna be, like I said, really hard to guard everyone, so everyone's gonna be getting touches everywhere. So it's gonna be really cool. Where I think I'm gonna fit in is kind of everywhere, to be honest. Like I say, we need someone here, you go there and play. It's just kind of my role, I think.
In a game like this, more guys getting an opportunity. Obviously everybody's gonna hope to get on the field.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to show?
Just want to kind of show what I'm capable of. The areas I've improved in, like blocking, I want to show. A big thing for me, and just how I play, speed, and everything about it. So I just kind of want to be myself and go out there and have a good game.
Were there family that you had that were Idaho fans, or are there people coming in for you?
I don't say that they're necessarily like Idaho fans. Maybe some Boise State fans for next week. Got some old coaches and stuff that are coming up to watch that game. So yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
After looking at the film, just what are some things that you are focused on heading into finally game prep week?
I just think it's getting to our roots, what we do best. Lock into those things that we've been practicing since the beginning of fall. Tempo, all that stuff we're going to use.
Good stuff from Kenyan Sadiq, the Oregon tight end. Kind of a cool story there. He went to daycare with someone who's going to be playing defensive end for the Vandals. That's a nice connection for Kenyan Sadiq. He also will be on our pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. Ryan Milano sat down with him today. 8 minutes, 7.5-minute interview as part of the pregame show, which will be on the air at 2:30 on Saturday. Jerry, Jorgie, myself, Dusty Hara on the sideline, Ryan Milano, Chris Clayton, John Lundquist joining us in the booth this year. 38 seasons that John Lundquist has been providing stats for Duck football. That guy, man, he's great. Suggestion. I go tie-dye. Green and yellow tie-dye. Full Eugene. It's like Bill Walton. That'd be a great nod to Bill Walton, actually. Green and yellow tie-dye. I could get into that. That's going to take some projecting by myself, but I could get into that. When we come back, let's hear from Dillon Gabriel, the Oregon quarterback. He met with the media. We got that for you coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
There's still time to squeeze more out of summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. Now, if I can just squeeze more clothes into this suitcase for my road trip, got it!
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends September 3rd. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
There's still time to squeeze more out of summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. Now, if I can just squeeze more clothes into this suitcase for my road trip, got it!
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends September 3rd. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live. For the better of myself, my family, my weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
Oh, looking forward to shouting at Autzen Stadium this weekend. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for joining us. Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. The Oregon quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, met with the media this week, breaking down what he has seen in fall camp, having some fun as well. Dylan Gabriel talking with all of us, previewing Idaho for the Ducks coming up on Saturday.
How's it feel to finally going to be like to take the field here?
Feels good. I think everyone's excited. I think everyone around the country is saying that, but I think more than anything, I think just playing against someone else, but also preparing and getting in that mode. That's just a lot of fun. That's why you play the game. But yeah, it's been a blast. It's been a blast every second. So
When the world has all the expectations of you, you undoubtedly have your own.
Yep.
All right, so what are your own for this one? Where it seems like no number that anybody comes up with by production, by completion percentage, by touchdowns, by yards, it's all going to be outlandish. So what's your own?
yeah, I keep it simple, right? And it's like find a way to win. You know, I don't care how we do it, what it takes, but just find a way to get a W and be +1, you know, on the scoreboard. So that'll be the mindset. Of course, there's things you want to be better at within the game to help that you focus on. But, you know, I look at that as a huge category in my book of, you know, getting the dub. That's all that matters. So
You studied preparing for this game. What stands out about just their defense? What are the challenges that they present?
yeah, I think just they've done a really good job, you know, past year, and not only defensively but offensively. So they're a really good team and know how to win. So I think that comes with its challenges, but also just a team that wants to win and come in and prove themselves. You know, I've been at a lower program in UCF, and you know, when you look forward to these kind of games, so I'm very aware that people come in and you know, want to play their heart out for the game. But you know, for me, it's maximizing the opportunity, executing every day, and just focusing play to play. That'll help us.
How do you make sure like this program under Lanning hasn't overlooked an opponent in just 2 years? How do you ensure that happens? It continues to happen.
Yeah, you can't come out sleepwalking. You know, I think that happens from year to year. You know, people just come out sleepwalking, and if you fall to that, then you know you dig yourself in a hole. So it's all about starting fast, dominating the middle eight, and then finishing strong. So clear vision for that, but got to get it going for sure.
What is it about Dan you think that maybe does a good job of avoiding those issues with the team?
Yeah, not taking anyone lightly. Like I said, you got to go prove it, you know, every week. And, you know, logo isn't going to save you nothing. It's all about what you do on the field, and we know that. But I think just as a program, we're very clear on preparing as best as we can, and going out there and executing. You know, it's a combination of those on Saturday.
What's it been like for you to be able to sort of share the benefits of the NIL deals that you've got with your teammates, and obviously the headphones backing up the minivan and you know, everything else?
Did you like that, by the way? You like the
Classic.
van? No, I love it. You know, that's part of it. You know, you got to bring people in on what you do. You know, like I said, I always say this, but as the person who touches the ball every single play, like you got to have trust and belief and confidence in that person. So any way I can do that, but just my teammates, I love them to death, and you know, if we can do fun things like that, let's do it. So
yeah, I mean that's part of what you've talked about before with trying to, you know, build chemistry with these
For
guys and friendships and everything. How do you feel like that's gone now leading into this, you know, first
it's gone really good. You know, I think with the 8 months that we did have, I think we maximized it, and just we're around each other a bunch. But I think that in turn with, you know, going through practices and scrimmages and workouts, you just build a lot of camaraderie and have a lot of respect for the people that kind of go through the same, you know, sweat and blood, sweat, and tears. So I think within the 8 months, we definitely have gotten super close.
What kind of feedback did you get from your teammates about getting those beats?
Oh, they love it. I mean, Beats does it right. You know what I mean? The design, the whole thing, and then a little touch with the van. You know, we're going to try and plug that just because the van's been, I don't know what about it. It's just been killing it. So, for the people who love the van, I guess. Let's more van content. Tell Scott that. So
Your teammates say that you like to change the song like every 30 seconds. You get in the van.
Terrence.
I'm not.
Oh gosh.
Pat also
Pat
said
also
it too.
said it.
But what's your lineup? Like, what's the first song you go to?
I'm more of a categories guy, so I like to build my music like an offense, like families, country. We got, some EDM sometimes to get people going, hip hop, R&B. I call it one high school, so that 2014 to 2019 era. Just try to mix it up, I think if that tells you anything, I like to, move from song to song, move from, play to play fast, score a bunch of points, listen to a bunch of songs. You try to get as much as you can in the car ride you have.
What's the excitement level for you getting behind the Harley, running out of the tunnel? Like, has that started to hit you that it's game week? You're going to be doing that at Autzen Stadium?
Yeah, I mean, I did it in the spring game, and I think that was just a little taste, honestly. But it's just a lot more real. Something about, as athletes, when this week, your body's just all of a sudden feeling good and ready to go, and you just kind of got an extra pep in your step. But I think, when you run out there, gosh, this ball is fun. It's why you put all the work in, so you can just go play free and have fun. And I think what better way to do it than here in Autzen and with all my boys that, we've been grinding together. So we'll put on a show for James, and we'll make sure that we let this thing rip. But no, I think I feel really good about it. I do. And I think just as we execute and keep that the focus, through the ups and downs, just having a clear level focus and trying to create completions, trying to score a bunch of points.
Coach Stein said after the second scrimmage that he wanted the quarterbacks just to get better at taking the easy money. Do you feel like that's been a big focus for the quarterbacks, like leading up into game week, and where do you feel like you guys are at with that now?
Yeah, I think that's a part of it. I think we learned that within scheme, and we definitely were heavy on the front end of install and continue to put in as much as we can that we felt was right. But when it comes to creating completions, you got to take the easy money, whether it's setting it up or just going through your progressions and getting to where you need to. And I think we've been really good at that. Of course, as quarterbacks, I think in our room, we're aggressive. We throw it aggressive and want to play that way. So it's just a balance, right, of being smart aggressive and when to push it down the field, when to take the easy money.
When you're looking at their defense, I know the top corner comes from Weber State, but how much of his film in particular, just because as good as he is on special teams, he also is really good on D. I think he's got like 5 or 6 career interceptions as well. Yeah,
I think he's just played really well. And I think even, one of their safeties just on the back end, I think they've played a lot of ball and have had production. And I think that just creates confidence, within their scheme, but within themselves as a player. But definitely, I think as we get into it, it's maximizing the matchups and taking care of the football, so that, that doesn't happen.
When so much of spring and the offseason, we're talking about snaps and Poncho, just what it's been like to build up that chemistry that same way with Charlie here these last couple of weeks to be ready for either case on Saturday. Yeah,
I think we've done a good job of getting everyone snaps. And I think that's important, in having, guys be able to, go under center and feel comfortable. But I think everyone's been really good. I get snaps with Marcus Harper. I get snaps with, everyone. Maybe even a little bit of Lombardi, but it's just part of it. It's CQ exchange, and as many people as you can get it with and get comfortable with, then you can learn each other on whether it's under center or how they snap it. But they've done a good job of it.
How do you handle outside expectations? You're viewed as the Heisman favorite or one of. What do you do to stay away from falling into thinking that's just going to happen?
Yeah, I've been not even within talks. I've been at the top of the talks or everything in between. And I just realized that none of it matters, and I think just like people, it's like, what have you done for me lately? What kind of person have you been to me lately? And that's kind of what I pride myself on. You're only as good as your last, game or practice or performance. So that's what I'm focused on. The rest will take care of itself. And like I said, I'm so, obsessed with just winning. Like that's the main focus and goal, and the rest will take care of itself. So
You guys have made it clear that you're excited to take the field this weekend, obviously, but more, specifically from a X's and O's personnel perspective. Are you guys excited to kind of try things out and see what sticks against Idaho?
Yeah, I think it all comes to game planning. I think you're able to everyone's finding balance in things that you've worked on throughout camp, things that you game plan, and everything in between, finding a mixture and balance. But yeah, I think we'll go out there and play ball, and we'll definitely put on a show. That's why we play ball, is to go score a bunch of points and win games. So
Dylan Gabriel talking about scoring a bunch of points, headphones, the van, more van content. Yeah, we're all here for it. More van content. Well done, Dylan Gabriel and the Ducks. For some, season debut, it's a season debut, but in some, their Oregon debut. Even if you played in the spring game. That's why I asked him that question. Like, he ran out of the tunnel in the spring game, maybe got some of that energy out of his system, but it's going to be different this Saturday. When it's sold out, the Vandals are in town for that 4:30 kickoff, it's going to feel different. It just is. And I feel like for a guy like Dylan Gabriel, who dreamed of being able to play at Autzen Stadium and put on the Oregon uniform, now, after his long college football journey, he's here, gets a chance to do it, and has a chance to break some records, not just this season, but in this particular game. If he throws for a little over 150 yards, he is rewriting the college football record book. Not the Oregon record book, not the entire college football record book. He would join some elite company. Tell you a little bit about that, some other records that could be on the line when we come back to Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Going to hear that between the first and second quarters coming up this Saturday at Autzen Stadium. Looking forward to having all of you back at Autzen for the Stripe Out. 4:30 against the Vandals as we look at your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. A lot going on around Oregon athletics. It's a big week. We've been talking about how it's not just football. It's also cross country and volleyball that all get started this week. Friday morning, Oregon cross country in Orem, Utah in their first event of the season. And then 7:30 Friday night at Matthew Knight Arena, Pittsburgh, Oregon, a top 10 matchup to start the Big Ten era. And there's going to be a lot of top 10 matchups if things go according to plan at Matthew Knight Arena and Big Ten volleyball this year. But when you get Pitt, a team that was in the Final Four last year, facing Oregon, Ducks won at Pittsburgh last year. They're facing the Ducks at home this time around. 7:30 on Friday. Also Saturday, Oregon football, of course, that stripe out. And then on Sunday, Oregon soccer takes on CSUN at noon. Oregon volleyball takes on another tournament team from a year ago in Long Beach State, also at noon. And then on Monday, I should probably have said this before, on Monday, it's Labor Day. We'll still have a show. Ryan Milano will be here for you because we've got an entire weekend to review with every sport, every fall sport, that is, now in action. And then we're still about a month away from students being back on campus and the start of classes, and that's when that Autzen atmosphere really starts to ramp up, to say the least. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Cafe Yum restaurants all throughout the Northwest, the home of the Ducks. Menus, nutrition info, cafeyum.com. Tonight, the Duck Football Coaches Show. 7 o'clock, Go Ducks YouTube, the Oregon Football social media channels, Coach Lanning, Johnny Cornelius joining us here in the Country Financial Studio tonight for the Toyota Oregon Football Coaches Show. We'll see you then.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.